Hey everyone, Gypsy Spirit here with you, ready to having the coffee, having coffee time. I'm here at the Charleston Coffee Exchange, the place I go at all the time to get my coffee. And of course, I didn't have to wait in a long line today, thank God. Um, and I usually will sit outside. And do these videos, but today I'm in my car because there's a sweet little couple outside, and it looks like they're having a real serious conversation, and I didn't want to do my video and while they're trying to have a conversation, and so that's why I'm in my car, but I am having my coffee. But anyway, I want to tell you about this book that I got, and it's so funny because I had a client come yesterday that got a reading with me, and she comes every month, and I had the book sitting on the table, and I said, "Have you read this book?" She said, "I told you about that book months ago." I was like, "Oh my God, you did?" She sent me the link to it and everything, and I told her, I said, "Oh, I am so sorry, but I discovered the book." One day I was at Costco and I had a little time to kill after I had done pretty much, seen everything I wanted to see or bought whatever I was going to buy. And so I went over to the book part, and I thought, well, I'll just look at some books and see what they have, and maybe I'll sit and read a book, and then when I'm getting ready to leave, I'll just put the book back. Well, I got this book. It's called The Alchemist. And I sat down to read it, and it was so good. I was like, wow, I don't want to put this book back. I want to take this book home with me. And this is what it looks like, but you can get it on Amazon. And I got a couple of friends of mine, but yeah, I mean, this is such a great book. And it says on the back of it, this is the back cover. It says to realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation. That is so true. But I've gotten so, I'm not even halfway finished with it. I haven't even put a dent in it. And because I'm such a slow reader anyway. But it talks about omens and signs and how we need to listen to omens. I mean, and they're around us all the time. Just because it's an omen, not every omen is a bad thing. And so I recently had this idea that I wanted to join or put my artwork in this art gallery. The art gallery that I was looking at, or that did look at, is like 45 minutes away from where I live. And that's far. But I went and I wanted to see like what the prices were for a booth, and so I went and I talked to the lady, and she gave me the contract to take home and look over. And I found a booth that was like right in front of the store, and it's $85 a month. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, I think I can swing that, because I'm thinking that in my mind that I should triple my money in this place, and that would offset what I would owe them every month, and then also bring me a little bit of money as well. So I'm trying to think like a business person. And she says also you have to get a business license from Walterboro, because that's where it's at. I was like, okay. She said it was $40. Well, so I go the following week, and I gather up all my stuff. I'm real excited, and I gather up all my artwork and everything, and I go to the water department where they give the business license, and they told me that it would be $40. I just have to fill out a form, and they'd give me a business license. Well, I get there, and first of all, Walterboro is like a really dink town. I mean, it's like a dink town. And I mean, everything, they're not open on Sundays, and if they are open, everything closes at 3 o'clock. And they used to close everything down at 3 o'clock on Wednesdays so that everybody could go to church. It's very Christian-like. So that was another sign right there. But anyway, I get in there at the in the water company, and I asked them for a business license, and they had me fill out some paperwork. And then they said, well, a fire inspector has to do a walkthrough. I was like, what? And she said, yeah, we're not going to be able to give you your business license until a fire inspector does the walkthrough. I was like, but this is a place that's already like been inspected. I mean, they're open. She says, well, everybody that gets a business license from this place has to go through this. I was like, okay. So I go to the art gallery, and I tell the owner, what they told me. And she said, no, they don't. Nobody's ever had that problem. She said that I've never even heard of that. And and all the other artists that have booths at this place, when I told them about this, they were like, no, we just went in and got their business license like within 5 minutes or however long it took them to fill the thing out. So there was sign number one, or omen number one. Universe trying to tell me this is not going to work for you. So, but I was so stubborn. I was hell-bent that I was going to get this booth. And I was going to sell my artwork in there. So I get my artwork all set up and everything. And the people that run this place, that own it, very, very nice group of people. Very nice. I mean, I have absolutely no complaints about them. But I will say that, I read tarot cards, and that's what I do. I'm a high priestess. I read tarot cards. I do energy work and all that sort of stuff. And so even before the incident with a business license, I already had a red flag when I sat down and talked to the very lovely lady who took me around and showed me. And I said, well, I read tarot cards. I would love to come up here and, do tarot offerings. She said, no, the owner's not going to let you do that. That's not going to happen. And that was my sign right there. Yeah. I mean, even the lady that I was talking to telling me, no, that's not going to happen. I mean, she's telling me that she reads oracle cards. You can't bring that in there. But yeah, I'm walking around and I'm seeing Bibles and all kinds of like Christian oriented stuff. And I'm also seeing in one booth where this lady does like these dream catchers, but she also does like little spell jars and things like that. And so I'm like trying to make the connection, and so that was like number one sign or omen. And then the thing with the business license, but no. I wasn't listening because I was going to put my artwork in this place. So I got my artwork in this place, and then the other thing was that they want you to come up. It's like a co-op sort of thing, and so anybody that has a booth there, you have to put in time. And if you don't have a full booth, then they want you to put in 4 hours a week. And if you have a full booth, they want you to put in 8 hours a week. Well, I don't have a full booth, so they were wanting me to put in 4 hours a week, which meant that I had to drive up there every week to put in 4 hours. So here we are, gas money, and wear and tear on my car. And, after the first month and a half, no sales. And here's the other thing. They're only open from Wednesday through Saturday, and they're closed Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm like, oh, wow. That's a lot of time to be closed. Of course, they're closed on Sundays because everything's closed on Sundays. And so I had a conversation with the lady that does the dream catchers and the spell jars, and she's a really cool lady, and we talked about it. And I said, I don't understand why they don't allow like the tarot, because I told her, I said, I have several books. I have one book that teaches people how to read tarot, and I have a lot of tarot cards, and have another book that I wrote, and I do have a children's book, and I did have my children's book on display there. So anyway, and she told me, she's like, yeah, she thought it was really weird too. And so I asked the owner about it, and she said, well, Walterboro is very, very strict, and they would probably lose business if they had tarot cards in there. I don't know. I really didn't buy that, because the what I have discovered about most witches or people that are into the nature of what I do, they actually like to be out in the country, out in the off-beaten path. We don't like to be around living in the city. The energy, it doesn't work for us. And so I thought it was really weird that she said that. But anyway, and she and her business partner, they actually do henna tattoos. And I mean, if you want to get real technical about it, henna tattoos originated, I want to say, like in India. It is more of a spiritual thing. Of course, now here in the United States, it's like really cool, and I love getting henna tattoos. But anyway, and so I mean, there were so many signs, and the fact that I've been there for nearly 3 months and have not had one sale, not one sale. But here's the kicker. The lady that makes the dream catchers, as she and I had this conversation, she said, well, the best way to compensate for your booth rental is to give classes. If you give art classes, it's $10 per person. It kind of offsets your booth rent. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. So I did a class. My first class I did using my materials, and I had 2 people. That was $20. My booth rent is $85. Not to mention my materials that I had put into it. And so I thought, well, do another class. So I set up for another class. I went out and spent like $30 on all the materials to do the second class. Not one person showed up. So I drove all the way out to Walterboro to have nobody show up and spent $30 on materials. Thank God I was able to take back, return all the items, the materials that I bought from Walmart. Otherwise, it would have been out $30. So anyway, after reading this book, and again, I haven't read the whole thing, but I read a portion of it, and it was talking about omens and signs and things that work and things that don't work. If it's not working, then you need to take it as an omen and tweak it or move on. And I was like, oh wow, and I saw the difference, because right at that time I also started doing something else with my tarot business that just like really took off, and it's working, and my business on that end is really picking up. And it's like, wow, okay. So I don't know why, but I was just so stubborn, and I was determined that I was going to stick it out to the end of the year. But the whole time that I've been at this art studio, I have seen, because I go up there once a week, and I have seen 2 people purchase artwork. One man bought 2 paintings, and somebody else bought like a purse. And that's the only time I've ever seen any artwork purchased there. And I've heard stories like, well, people will come in, and you never know. I mean, somebody will spend like $200, or that our people will come in and they'll keep coming back and looking at the same thing, and then eventually they buy it or whatever. So, but anyway, I don't like, for me, and I know this place works for a lot of people, and that's great, but for me, it wasn't the right thing to do. And then when I started really thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I mean, the signs were in front of me from day one. Even before I went to get a business license, and the signs were there. And how much more money am I going to lose before I finally get it? So, anyway, I ended up letting them know that I was pulling out, and so next week I have to go get all my things. And the universe was like really showing me, like, what you can do this artwork thing if you want to, but you got to figure out where you want to put your focus. Are you going to focus on your tarot and things like that, and what you do, what you're really good at? Are you going to be an artist, which you're mediocre? What are you going to do? And so I was like, okay, I need to put my focus on my tarot. And like I said, as soon as I did, it just like started blooming. But to take this even further, and I know that movies, they exaggerate things, or they have to do something to make the movie interesting. Last night I was watching on Netflix, I was watching the story about Whitney Houston, and I thought it was a documentary. I thought that's what I was getting into, but actually it was like a movie about her life. And again, I know that it's just a movie, and some of it is exaggerated, or things do happen, but they exaggerate it. But anyway, I'm going to go with the movie part of it. And there's a part in the story where she and Bobby Brown, I guess that's the guy that she married, they're in this limousine, and they've been dating for a little while, and they're all in love, and they're all smooching, kissing, and he asked her to marry him, and he pulls out this beautiful diamond ring. I mean, it's ginormous, and she's like, yes, I'll marry you, and as soon as she puts that ring on her finger, he tells her that his ex-girlfriend is pregnant. Within not even 5 minutes, not even 2 minutes after she has that ring on her finger, he informs her that his ex-girlfriend is pregnant. Now, I don't know if that's really what happened. I don't know if that's just, Hollywood, or if that's what really happened. But let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, that happened. That would have been omen or sign number one in itself. If that's not a sign, honey, I don't know what is. And then she married him. And a lot of bad things happened to her. A lot of things happened in that marriage. Had she not married him, that wouldn't have happened. So anyway, the point is, listen to the signs, listen to the omens. And I had a client come in Wednesday, and I was telling her all about this book, and there's something going on in her life, and I was telling her about the signs and the omens and what to look out for. And there's stuff going on in her life, and I was telling her, I was like, well, honey, what are the signs that you're seeing here? Think about this for a minute. And she wasn't getting it. I was like, okay, let's backtrack this a little bit. Okay, you had this was good for a couple of weeks, and then something happened. Two things happened, and you got to look at the signs. You got to look at the overall picture. So really, like, just because you get an omen or a sign of some kind doesn't necessarily mean that what you're doing, that you have to stop But what it is, what I would suggest that, oh, that lady just walked out of the coffee shop and she has such a pretty dress on. But anyway, what I would suggest is that if you see a sign or an omen and you don't know what it means or what the universe is trying to tell you, that maybe you just need to stop and look at all your surroundings, look at your situation, look at everything around you and what is going on, and just really meditate on what the universe is trying to help you with. Because like I said, there's signs and omens all around us 24/7. Our spirit guides, universe, angels, whatever you want to call them, are always in front of us, ahead of us on our journey, and they're trying to help us. But sometimes we get stuck, the ego takes over, and we are hell-bent to have things a certain way. I'll give you another good example. Years ago when I was 13, I fell in love. Well, if you want to call it that. But I met this guy, and oh, my dad. Oh, my poor dad. He did everything he could to break that situation up. And but anyway, this guy that I was so in love with, or thought I was in love with, he went off to join the army. And I had a dream about him. And in the dream, there was a letter exchanged between the two of us. And it was like a Dear John letter or something. And I do remember waking up, and this is I was like 14, about 14. And I remember waking up and thinking, oh wow, that's like a sign from God telling me this is not right. This guy's not right. And what the fuck do you think I did? I married him. When he got out of the service and came back to Charleston, I married him. And guess what? It ended in divorce very quickly too, I might add. Yeah, I mean, just, we have listen to your dreams. If you have a dream about something, write it down. My son and I were talking, and we were talking about dreams, and I said, I've been interpreting dreams for a really, really long time, and he was telling me about some things that he dreams, and he doesn't know, what to make of it. And I said, it's okay. If you have a dream about something and it's real intense, you need to get up and you need to write it down. And you may not understand what that dream means right then and there, but give it a couple of days and you'll figure it out. It'll come to you. Because if you open your third eye and you open yourself up enough to allow universe or angels or spirit guides, whatever, do their thing and help you, you will have the understanding that you need, and sometimes it, like maybe you might need to come to somebody like me who interprets dreams, or that can help. Or if you have something in front of you, a crossroads or something, and there's signs but you're not really sure, yes, maybe you need to come and talk to somebody like me. Or there's like a gazillion tarot readers and spiritualists and intuitive people all over the world that can help. You just got to find somebody that you connect with, and that is reputable as well. So anyway, I hope this helps. But be sure to get that book. I'm going to put the link to that book for Amazon in my description box. So this is a great book, and I just, like I said, my intention was to put it back on the shelf, and I thought I was come to every time I come to Costco, I can just pick up and start reading where I left off, but I just went ahead and bought the whole book. But anyway, y'all have a great day. And that young couple, they're still sitting out there talking, and I hope they're getting things worked out. But I got a lot of tarot readings I got to do today. I offer weekly readings through video, and so it's $20 a month, and you get your own personal reading every week for only $20. And my clients that are doing this, they love it. The first 2 weeks are free, so you get 2 weeks of tarot readings that are sent to you just like this or through video, and nobody has a link to your YouTube video except for me and you, and unless you give it to somebody. It's very private. But it's just like this, it's me talking and reading the cards, and like I said, it's great. I've gotten such great feedback from it. Oh my gosh, everybody loves it. So if you're interested in doing something like that, let me know. All you gotta do is send me a text, and it's great, and I'll get you started. And anywhere in the world, anybody all over the world, they can have this done. It's awesome. But anyway, y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay? Bye-bye.